Have you ever told your friends about a massive new project, only to wake up the next morning with zero desire to actually do it? It's a deeply frustrating cycle, but it isn't a modern glitch. There is an old story about a young villager named Simon that perfectly captures why this happens. Simon's story reveals how speaking about a dream triggers a psychological trap that effectively drains our internal battery before we even begin. Simon was a young man overflowing with big ideas. One week he'd build a house, the next he'd start a business, but he never finished a project. Before lifting a single tool, Simon would walk into the village market and declare his grand plans. The villagers would clap and celebrate his ambition. Simon would go to bed feeling incredibly important. But when morning came and it was time to actually start working, he felt utterly exhausted. The energy was simply gone. Days later, he would gather the village again to announce he was going to become a master potter. More cheers, more praise, and once again, he never even touched the clay. This pattern continued for years. Simon received endless celebration for his ideas, yet his hands remained empty. He felt deeply ashamed, completely stuck in a loop where the applause had replaced the actual achievement. One evening, a respected village elder found Simon sitting alone. The elder was known for his quiet, humble demeanor, the exact opposite of Simon's constant broadcasting. Simon confessed his struggles. He admitted he shared his ideas right away because he craved the feeling of people being proud of him. The next morning, the elder handed Simon a seed and told him to bury it in the dark soil. Then the elder took a second seed, held it up high for a group of passing children to praise, and left it entirely exposed on a bare rock. Over the next few weeks, the elder quietly watered the buried seed until a strong green shoot emerged. The exposed seed, meanwhile, baked in the sun and was picked apart by birds. A seed needs the dark, silent protection of the earth to grow. If you pull it out into the light too early, it dries up. Human ambition works exactly the same way. This biological requirement for darkness is real. When we share a goal prematurely, the brain receives a rush of satisfaction from the social praise, a down payment on a success we haven't actually earned yet. Psychologists call this premature gratification. Upon announcement, gratification spikes to its limit, while effort remains at zero. Having received its reward early, the brain stops producing dopamine needed for real work. The gratification bar crashes, leaving the system stalled. The internal fire and energy meant to fuel physical action is instead entirely wasted in our verbal boasting. Understanding this, Simon made a decision. He set a single, tangible goal: to build a wooden chair. And this time, he told absolutely no one. By removing the audience, Simon eliminated the intoxicating rush of early praise, but he also removed the crushing weight of external expectations. Nobody was watching, and nobody was asking him for updates. Forced to work in the metaphorical dark soil, Simon had to rely entirely on his own intrinsic motivation. When he made a mistake or felt physically exhausted, there was no crowd to perform for, just his hands and the wood. Weeks later, the chair was finished. Sitting on it for the first time, Simon felt an unfamiliar sensation. It was a quiet, enduring pride, earned through actual physical creation. He finally understood the difference. Authentic pride is the natural byproduct of completing the work. Premature pride is the poison that stops you from executing it. Over the following years, Simon quietly built tables, shelves, and stools. He became known throughout the village as a highly skilled craftsman, respected not for what he promised to do, but for what he actually built. Your early ambitions are incredibly fragile. They are raw materials that need to be carefully protected from the glare of the spotlight. The next time you feel the urge to announce your next big move, pause. Starve your ego of that early applause so you can preserve the energy you need to actually do the work in the dark.